Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and happy 4th of July, everyone. I am so glad that you decided to come and spend your evening with me. I do have a lot of fireworks, so that's always a fun thing. So tonight, I'm going to be talking about people pleasing, and I'll explain what that is. But it's something that many people aren't really aware of. They're not really aware of the roots to it. And although they might be a very active people pleaser. So what is people pleasing? So people pleasing, or people that are people pleasers, believe that it's their responsibility to take care of others' needs. And usually it's all to their own detriment. You hear people that are enablers. Primarily, you hear about that with individuals who are in a relationship with someone who has a drug or alcohol issue. But you can be an enabler in a lot of different ways. And people that are enablers are always people pleasers. In our society, and it's not even just U.S. society, it's around the world, women in particular are trained from an early age to be people pleasers. They're taught that it's their responsibility to take care of the family and to take care of all these tasks and chores, with a happy face. And and I'm going to say this out loud, and in many cases, there is this quiet thing that's not said that, if your husband has an affair, well, he's a man and it's okay. But is it really okay? Is it okay to the woman who's been cheated on? Or is she dying on the inside because of what happened? But again, women have been trained to people please in the general sense of the word. People that tend to be people pleasers have an issue with asserting themselves and their needs. They tend to put their feelings aside, even if it hurts them deeply. To the individuals who have been cheated on or have had other toxic situations thrown in their face, they would rather adjust themselves to the need of their partner versus assert themselves and have their needs met. So people pleasing comes from what is now considered the fawn response, and it has been tossed into the stress response system. So there's fight, flight, and freeze, which are 3 automatic responses that our bodies will go into when we experience something threatening or experience some kind of threat. But a fourth one, the fawn response, has been added to it. Now, the fawn response is not an automatic situation, it is not built in. But people who are fawners, their goal is to avoid or minimize negative reaction from other people. And so usually a child learns that if they confront their parent or if they confront an adult, that those things will lead to a more frightening form of retaliation. And so they tend to be compliant. They tend to do what they're told because it's easier, it's safer, it makes their world be better. But they become complacent. And as an adult, after years of this training as a child, as an adult, they have a hard time saying no. And many times they will experience guilt, but there might also be this underlying fear of punishment. And the saddest part of this whole thing is this willingness to accept poor treatment and take abuse without protest. And so saying no, again, brings up a lot of fear, brings up guilt, it brings up shame for them. And so they choose not to do that, thus the people pleasing. And people pleasing tends to underlie the development of codependent behaviors in people and in relationships. So let's say this is resonating with you. We've talked a lot about mindfulness and paying attention to what's going on in your inner world. And so what if you happen to catch yourself? Here's a situation. Somebody comes up, a friend of yours, but not like a super close friend, but someone friend, asks you to help them move. And the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, okay, well, when do you need me? And you leave that interaction, and now you are dreading every single second of the decision you made, the commitment you made, because, people pleasers, if you make a commitment, you keep the commitment. You don't just back off, because you're not a people pleaser if you have that kind of behavior. So here's just one simple strategy that you might want to try. Is if that person comes and asks you to help them move, or whatever it is, if someone asks you, until you get more of a grip on assessing your inner world, instead of just knee-jerkingly say yes and then regretting it, maybe give yourself some space to respond. Maybe say to them, hey, can I think about that a few minutes, or let me check my calendar. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Because a couple of different things happen. First, you get to separate your energy from them and become more congruent within yourself and re-regulate. Because if somebody asks you something, okay, if you're a people pleaser and somebody asks you something, that guilt is automatically there, that fear is automatically there. And that's what's issuing the response. And so by taking some space, by giving yourself that little bit of time, you can re-regulate yourself. You can ask yourself, is this something that I really want to do? And then make a better decision, even if the decision is to say no and you haven't ever done that before, and you have to white knuckle, the chair in order to do that. But it is really about retraining yourself to take your needs into consideration. Because again, people pleasers do not take their needs into consideration. They do not take their welfare. They do not, there's an issue with self-love and worth and value, where for some reason, we're taught to value someone else's emotions, value someone else's needs above our own. And so that, my friends, is people pleasing. So if you find that that's something that's going on in your life and you would like some help in addressing that or kind of working through that, please do feel free to reach out to me. and schedule a session. You could do that by going to my webpage, soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com. And again, you can, reach out to me on anything that is going on in your life that you would like to get some clarity and guidance or insights into what you can do and what's going on. Okay. And while you're there, please don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at soulhealer.com. That'll keep you informed with what's going on. And speaking of that, and I'm not going to put this thing up because it doesn't work that good. Something I would love for you guys to do, if you have a Twitter account, if you have a Rumble account, if you have a Facebook account, YouTube account, if you could go to my different accounts and sign up or subscribe or, if you could share these videos, especially when I'm coming live, if you could share them with your friends, it would be great because it would be like a bigger party than we're already happening. But all of my social media information is in the show notes below. If you are seeing this show on something like Rumble or BitChute, and you want to join the conversation, the easiest way to do that is by going to YouTube and going into Just Energy Radio on YouTube. That's my channel. So it's Just Energy Radio, and clicking the live stream button on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central. And that will allow you to join the chat. You can get a reading while you're here. You can visit with everybody else because it's such a fun group here. So with that all said, I know it's kind of a short one tonight, but I think a good one. I am going to open up the chat line. I'm going to say hi to everyone. Okay, so this is a new rule. If you haven't been here in a while or it's your first time here and you would like to get a reading from me, then please put your I would like to get a reading and a number 1 through 3 in the chat thing, and do it in all caps. If you want to send a direct message to me, like feedback on a reading that I might have given you, please do that in all caps. There is a lot of conversation that happens, and it becomes challenging for me to sort out you guys visiting with each other versus you're commenting to me. So please use all caps. Okay. Now I'm going to say hi to everyone because there's already like a gajillion comments. I was like, well, maybe there's not going to be hardly anybody here because it's 4th of July, but I guess you guys like me because you're here. How fun. Okay. So Ziggy's here. Hey, Ziggy. Christine, hi, Christine. Wendy says, happy 4th. Happy 4th, Wendy. Julie Ann is here. She also says, happy 4th. Oh, she says she's very excited to be here. Julie, I think you're a new person, so I'm so glad that you were able to come. And if you would like a reading, in all caps, say, I would like a reading and a number from 1 to 3. And when I get to you on the list, I'll get to you on the list. Hi, Yvonne. Julie says, recovering people pleaser. Michael, happy 4th, Michael. Okay, and I'm going to say Alistar 1. Hi, Alistar 1. I think you're a new person also. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in on this 4th of July. Otto, hey, Otto, nice seeing you. Hey, John. I don't know that young man, but he has the cutest freaking baby. Oh my God. Okay, so Otto, and I'm trying to just like go through, but Otto says, are you talking about Peter Walker's book about fight, flies, freeze, and fawn? And yes, I am, Otto. That is exactly who coined the fawn term, but I couldn't, I could not recover his name as part of my presentation. So thank you for sharing that. So yes. Hi, Cindy, nice seeing you. RLCC, happy 4th to you. Thank you. And he would like a reading. I'm going to come back to that. Rita, nice seeing you again. Ohura, that I'm not going to say right, but hi. Yvonne wants a reading. Hi, Don. let's see. Reading. Man, you guys all want reading. Okay, so Rita, I do 1 through 3 because I'm a busy girl. So let me know, because I was thinking about screenshotting pictures about my house project, because I get here and some days I'm just like so tired, but I just finished primering 3 rooms and it is looking amazing, and I can't wait to get like final paint up. So, but if you would be interested, I could do a little thing on that because it's kind of fun. Okay, so let's see. All right, so Ziggy didn't ask for a generic reading, but wants to know, will my cancer cells turn back into healthy cells? So Ziggy, I don't know what you're doing to transform what's going on in your body. I mean, I do feel like you're doing some stuff. I'm feeling like, and I'm just being real here, that you could be more hardcore about it. I feel like what you're doing is not quite enough to give it the push that it needs. And that's like a whole huge conversation. So, it might be something you want to schedule an appointment with me with. Okay. Okay. RLCC would like a reading, and he would like number 2. And thank you for all the caps. Caps are good. Caps are our friend. Hey, John, how come Tanya hasn't had a live stream the last couple of weeks? I go to it before this one. So my niece has a live stream where she sells crystals, and her Facebook thing is Soul Expressions. I would spell that, but I can. Soul Expressions on Facebook, and she's really fun, and she sells crystals, and she's my niece. And her live stream is right before mine. And so usually on Thursday nights, I go hang out with her for a while and then come here. So you might want to check it out. Soul Expressions. Okay, RLCC, I mixed way too much, but oh well. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, interesting. So what I'm feeling is that I feel like you have a lot of stuff going on in your life right now, and you are trying to sort it out, organize it, place it in the spots that it needs to go. But it's kind of making your brain crazy because there's just too much going on. Perhaps making a list so that you can go through and prioritize will get it out of your head. Because I feel like it's just being a moving target. One of the things you're really wanting is for it to be more grounded and it to move in a flow versus just feeling very chaotic. And so doing something like making a list would really help kind of ground that down and allow you to make easier and better choices. Okay, let me know what you think. Put a comment below, please. Okay, so Cindy, who didn't use capital letters, would like a reading number 2. Okay, Cindy, number 2. And this is your card for today. Okay, interesting. So one of the things that was coming up for me was this whole energy of you just really working on loving yourself. What I was doing was kind of like seeing which chakra this is tied to, But, and where the interesting part came from was this was sitting in your fourth chakra, but there was a lot of resistance, disturbance coming from your third chakra. Um, I bet you're a people pleaser, because I feel like you've used so much of your energy in taking care of everyone else. And now it's like you're working on loving yourself, and all this guilt is coming up, and you know, I want to say negative emotions are coming up for you. And it's been a little bit challenging to um, navigate that. You know, and I think what I need to say to you is that the loving yourself is much more important than all those other people's feelings, because you have to live in your body. And if you don't feel good, if you don't feel whole, if you don't feel satisfied, then it's just not worth it. And I'm going to make another comment. You know, when I say these things, a lot of people go, oh, but then you'll be a narcissist. Not really, because if you've spent most of your adult life as a people pleaser, there is no way you could ever get to that place where a narcissist is. So just saying. Okay, let's see. So Don, hey Don, I'm here. Could I get a reading? And yes, you could, Don, but I'm going to clear these cards real quick for you, and then I will shuffle for you. Number one. Okay, Don. Dang. I don't like this. Is never, I mean, this is not necessarily a good card, bad card, but it's not necessarily one of my more favorite cards, although it might be good. Okay, Don. Okay. So Don, for some reason, I kind of remember what I talked to you about. I don't know why, but I do. You know, and I feel like over the last few weeks, you've made some really good positive steps forward. And I'm not going to discount those positive steps. Um, but I'm just sensing like confusion or some fear about, if I stay on this path, X will happen. Like there's a catastrophic thing tied to it. But when I look, there's not reality to this catastrophic thing. There's not reality to this fear, except your own imagination. And so perhaps when you're hitting that fear energy, that you could just say to yourself and acknowledge, okay, I'm afraid and this is scaring me, but that's okay. For me, when I hit a lot of fear energy, um, I will stop and go, okay, so what am I resisting? Because a lot of time resistance will show up as fear. And then with my little scared butt, I keep going forward to do whatever that thing is, even though I'm scared, because I have come to learn that when I get to the other side of it, it usually is a very positive thing. It turns out as being a very positive thing, but it also it makes it so that you've done it, and it becomes easier to do it again down the road. So Don, let me know if that makes sense. You know, so anybody that I do a reading for, you know, please put a comment below. Yvonne would like a reading. Sorry, Yvonne, you weren't in cap, so I didn't see you right away. And she would like a number 2. Uh-oh, Yvonne, you got another one. Okay, you got the mask card, and I'm just gonna pull. Okay, that's not too bad. Not a total clearing, but I'm gonna go with that. All right, so that's what was sitting under it. Interesting. Okay, so I get the impression that you've kind of come up with this direction to move into, that's new. And what I'm feeling is that there's fear sitting on top of it that's kind of keeping you from taking the steps forward. Or, I mean, I feel like you're taking the steps forward, but there's, I don't know, the word that's coming up is there's a certain amount of procrastination, maybe, or hesitancy, or maybe second guessing yourself. But what's interesting is that this card, I mean, look at that. It's, you know, it's an arrow. It's moving you forward. There's a target. You have a target. You know where you want to go. And it's going to open doors. So I feel very positive about it. You know, but that's your fear coming to the surface. Or, yeah, it's that resistance that I just talked to Don about. Okay, and Ohura, hey girl. All right, and she would like a reading number 2. Okay. Okay, that's your card. The card just came up for someone else, but you got it as well. All right, hang on. I'm hydrating. So it's interesting. I feel like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of negativity around you. And one of the things that you have really been working on, you know, and I feel like this is a very active thing, is trying to keep your thoughts in a high vibration, trying to keep your energy in a high vibration. I feel like you recognize that, you know, when you have negative thinking, when you have a low vibration, the law of attraction doesn't work for you. You know, it doesn't work for any of us. And I feel like this is kind of where you're starting to put your energy, is to just really paying attention to those thoughts and emotions and moving them to a higher vibration and frequency. You know, and I got to say, it's a process. So if it's not working the way you think it should be working right away, you know, it takes time. It takes time to retrain us and shift our biology. So, but good. Nice shift. Nice shift. Okay. So Yvonne came back with her all caps. Thank you, Yvonne. All right, Christine said she would like a reading number 2 as well. And I'm just going to clear these real quick. All right, and this is for you, Christine. All right, man. All right, that came up for you. Well, this is very interesting. I mean, all those shuffles, and that was the card that's sitting behind it. And I'm going to go with that. So let me just see what this is about for you. So, hey, Raylan, you're lifting your chair. There you go. Christine, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I'm feeling like somebody hurt your feelings. I'm feeling, you know, I'm feeling emotional pain in your body. But it's interesting because I feel like tied to that is this recognition of like, screw you and move away. So I feel like mentally you understand that, you know, whoever this interaction was with was adult. I'm being kind. And, you know, and it's just taking your body a little bit of time to process through that. You know, so just be a little bit more loving to yourself. You know, sometimes people hurt, you know, our feelings get hurt, and, you know, and old programming gets triggered, and it's okay. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to reinvent ourselves because, what sits in our moral code and our moral compass gets stepped on. Um, I'm feeling like it's not going to take you that long to kind of process it through. It just seems very active right now. So please, commentary down below. Okay. And Julie would like a reading. Boy, what's with you guys? 9. Okay, so Julie corrected and said 3. Thank you, Julie, for correcting to 3. Okay. All right, so Julie, this is your card. So I feel like one of the things that you have been more focused on is loving yourself. I feel like, self-love is really a 4th chakra kind of energy, but I feel like there is intention and momentum and energy sitting behind the concept of loving yourself more and looking out for your well-being. And and that it's kind of in your conscious mind right now, and you are actively working on that. So that is really good. I feel like it is becoming more of a practice for you. I get the impression that you have tended to be kind of invisible, and I feel like this is allowing you to exert yourself into the world and kind of have some space and room and air in it. So good job, especially because there's intention behind it. It's something that you're wanting for yourself as you move forward. So good job. And again, if I would love to get feedback from you guys, because if you did this, it's like I have that sentence and then I'm like going. Also, if you can use my help and would like to get some clarity on a situation or issue that's going on in your life, please do reach out to me at my webpage, soulhealer.com, and set up a time for a private consultation. Okay, so Cindy would like a reading number 2. Okay. God, what's with the cards tonight? Okay, so that's the card that came up for you, Cindy. Wow, this is interesting. I like looking for patterns, and there's just a lot of like very 3rd chakra energy readings coming up today. I get the impression, and again, like I was saying to somebody else, that there's someone that is ticking you off. And okay, so I get the impression that there's someone that's ticking you off, and you tend to choose not saying anything, not exiting stage left, and just putting up with, and I'm going to use this kind of harsh word, the abuse, and dealing with and navigating your own thoughts and feelings, which have not been particularly pleasant for you. And so, if you didn't see the thing on people pleasing at the beginning, maybe that would be a good thing for you to check out. But I feel like you're not really living for your own benefit. So, so if you're not familiar with the concept of people pleasing, that's something you might want to investigate. Or fawning is another word tied to it. Codependency, I hate that word, is also tied to it. And that might help you move forward. Again, feedback would be perfect. Michael, Michael. All right, and he would like number 2. Okay, Michael, that's your card for today. Okay, and I'm not sure that I have a specific answer, although I maybe we'll dig a little bit deeper. But I feel like you're kind of in this weird space where you want to be happy and you feel like you should be happy because when you look around, there's not anything going on that would make you not be happy. But there's like something kind of sitting in the background, kind of bugging you that's keeping you from finding that place within yourself that I know that you can find. Um, okay, interesting. And so this is going to be a little bit vague, but I feel like there's something that's coming up. Like you know, you have a doctor's appointment, you have something coming up that you need to do, that you really don't want to do, you know, and it's kind of giving you anxiety. You know, so it's not that there's anything bad or making the going to the appointment is bad, but I just feel like it's giving you anxiety. And so, you know, maybe you can address that part to just to be okay, if that makes sense to you. Um, but I feel like it's that low grade anxiety that's sitting there that's keeping you from reseeding into yourself and finding your happy spot. So again, please, if that makes sense, feedback below. I would love it. Don says happy 4th of July. Alistair said, I'm going to assume she would like a reading number 5, but since you did not do a little correction, you're going to get a number 1. But I'm going to clear them first. All right. All right. All right. There's your card for today. So I get the impression that you're looking out at your future. I feel like, you know, and this might be overstating it, that you're kind of at a crossroads, or at least you're at a pause spot in your life, and you're having the opportunity to go, okay, which path do I want to be on, and where do I want to head next? Um, And it's interesting because I feel like the things that have presented themselves all seem actually pretty good. And I'm not getting where you're trying to force yourself into one of them or another, because I feel like they all have a pretty good vibe. Um, you know, so I guess I would pick the one that seems the best, feels the best. And what's interesting, they keep saying that these other choices are not X'd out, that in time you will circle back to them down the road, because those are things that you do want to bring into your life. And so it's not that you have to make a choice. Well, you have to make a choice for the here and now, for the in this moment, but not like, well, I'm never going to be able to do that, because you will be able to do that. It's just not the next thing. I hope that makes sense. Again, feedback below, because I love feedback. All right. All right, and Rita would like a reading, and she thinks she's going to get a 10, but she put 3 on there, so she's going to get a 3. And then she said, your new project is awesome. And then you wonder why I only want to shuffle 3 times. Okay, 1, these cards are big. I mean, I have kind of large hands, and these cards are huge. And after working on that project, man, my hands are not so super happy. Some days more not happy than other days. Today's not too bad of a day, but okay. What is with this tonight? Okay, Rita, you got a MasterCard. Ooh, you got a double MasterCard. Okay, so let's see. Okay, well, that's okay. That's not bad. Okay, so I only pulled 2 other cards to go behind that till I felt like it cleared. So Rita, this is interesting. I get the impression that there's, and I'm going to say that there's a lot of stuff going on in your life. I'm feeling like you're not real happy, kind of in the general sense. Not that there's anything specific that that it's this thing. I just am feeling like there's some discontent. But I'm feeling like, Raylan, come here, that if you work on nurturing yourself and grounding and being more mindful, that will shift. Hey, come on. Okay, and I'm going to say this in a different way. I get the impression that there is a lot of stuff brewing inside of you and underneath the surface. And it would not surprise me that on some level that it doesn't, and I'm going to use this word, that it doesn't explode, that there's a kind of fast shift that happens because you're going to be done. It's like, I'm done and I'm not doing this anymore. So I am giving you that heads up that if that does happen, if this is resonating with you and things change, it's a really good change, because I feel like there is a part of you, this is interesting, sometimes people's bodies just talk a lot to me. I feel like over the last few years, you've really been thrown out of your own personal alignment, kind of into somebody else's alignment or an alignment of a situation. And what you're doing is restructuring yourself and getting yourself back on track to that Rita way of life, because that's how we fly. And so I feel like it's going to be a very liberating experience for you. And when that happens, you need to come back on the show and let everybody know, because it's really kind of cool and dynamic, because there's multiple areas in your body that are all working on this at the same time. Okay. All right. So RLCC says he would love to see my house rehab. So just, I'll do that. I'll put together some pictures on here. So when I bought the house, okay, so here's the skinny. So when I bought the house, the plumbing didn't work. The electric was, I don't even know. There was no heat and air. There was no insulation. The house is from 1860, so the walls are covered in this shiplap, which is a wood planking. And there was never sheetrock up. And so the way the walls were decorated was that they hung wallpaper on this cheesecloth and tacked it on the wall. And so it has been a labor of love, and I go there every day and work. And there's stuff that I don't do, and my thing is doing finishing work. And so I've been like mudding and taping and sanding and painting and for weeks. 4 weeks. Okay, Cindy says sounds amazing. Hey, Joe, how's it going? He liked interviewing me on the War Dove Pub podcast. Hey, Joe, if you put a link down below, I'll give you a little pitch during the show, and you should have me back on, because, I'm kind of fun. So cool. Thank you. Oh, and he would like a reading, and he didn't give me a number. So I'm going to give you a number 2. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, and that's your card. Okay, Joe, let's see. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. So, Joe, and again, I always ask people to give me feedback because, I'm talking to a computer screen, and it's hard to connect to energy. So, it's validating for me that I know that what I'm saying to you is making sense. Um, Joe, I get the impression that you have ended something, walked away from something, that something has terminated in your life. And there is this huge, huge sense of freedom tied to it. I feel like whatever it was really dragging you down for a long time to the point that you didn't even realize it anymore, like how toxic it was. And now that it's gone, you're like, wow, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I mean, that kind of energy. So that's really cool. That's really cool. Congratulations. So again, if that's resonating with you, I would love to get some feedback on that. Okay, so RLCC says, you're right on the money, thanks, and I'm not a him. Oops. I'll remember for next time. I mean, there's only an R, so I have to kind of go with whatever. So sorry, her, she. Okay, Veronica, did you even say hi? And where's Marco? He's not here anymore. Maybe because I got on his case. Okay, Veronica would like reading number 3. Number 3. Number 3. Okay. You're not going to believe this, guys. Bam. Jeez. All right. Funky card. Not so bad. Keep going. Keep going. I don't want to go that deep. All right. We are going to stop. No. Okay. So I'm digging. Got another one of those cards. Okay. I like this one. Okay. So Veronica. So math card, funky, medium, I don't know. There are all these cards. And I decided that the clearing card is this one. Okay, so they're being very specific, and they are suggesting to me to suggest to you that it's time for you to not be baited by other people's energy. I get the impression that, and this isn't a judgment thing, but there tends to be a lot of toxic people around you that you end up interacting with, not that you want to, but that you end up doing that. And one of your reactions is that you will go down to their level and respond. And what they're suggesting is for you to stay in your high vibration, because then when you stay in your vibration, you're not affected by it. You don't end up going into a victim place. You're not hurt by it. You're not irritated by it. You are just you in your space. And so, but there's a lot of energy between that and what's going on. I mean, some of it is about you nurturing yourself, about wanting to kill other people, and all that. And Raylan brought, let me see him. Merlin. Ooh. Okay. So again, Veronica, if that makes sense, post something in the note area. All right. Cindy said, thank you very much. Okay. And now we have Garcia Mary, who's pitching to everybody. Yeah. So Yvonne says, yes, new direction and doing it anyway, but have doubts. Thank you. Doing it anyway. Okay. Fighting through the procrastination. So Yvonne, I'm going to make a comment to that. And I'm not saying the procrastination isn't just procrastination, but I'm feeling like maybe you need to make a little teeny tweak to that direction you're moving in. I'm feeling like it's not 100% congruent. You know, I always like using the analogy. It's like you're trying to move forward and walk through the door, but you just keep hitting a wall and you just keep hitting a wall. But if you took one step to the left, you could go right through the doorway. And what I'm suggesting to you is maybe you need to take a little baby step to the left, get a little, you know, just twist it a little bit. And that's when the energy is going to come and start flowing. Okay. All right. Dawn says, yeah, that does make sense to me. I'm trying to get into a new field of income. Sweet. Okay, Dawn. Excellent. All right, Wendy says, reading 2, please. I'm working on opening my heart to allow love to flow in and out based on what you said to me in a previous reading. Do you have any suggestions for me at this time? Okay. I mean, I'll pull a card, but, you know, usually when somebody asks a question, I just as soon address the question, where the cards are way more generic in nature. But who knows, you know? Bam! You would think I just had this sitting on the top of the pile and I'm just pulling it from the bottom of the deck and going bam. So you have kind of conflict, and then this is your clearing card. You know, I mean, the word that comes up for me, Wendy, is trust. I feel like, you know, you go into things with a lack of trust, and then have to kind of talk yourself into trusting, which I get. Okay, so you keep showing me this picture, or I'm feeling this energy of like when you engage, and I think you'll hear what I'm saying. When you engage, it's like all of your energy is in it, like it's projecting forward, and you're in the middle of it, versus sitting your energy back and allowing it to come to you. You know, in a more grounded place. I mean, because I feel like in some areas of your life, it's like you do that, but then in other areas of your life, it's like, you know, and maybe that's your protection mechanism, you know, where, you know, you navigate your energy that way. No, when I kind of dig underneath that, I mean, one of the things your body is saying is that, you know, if I open my heart, then someone's going to hurt it. You know, and so I don't know if you've been doing, I mean, I'm assuming that you've been doing work on that, you know, but I mean, it's still a pretty big picture that's sitting in the middle of your heart and in the middle of your 4th chakra. So I hope that helps. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's Vesta and she made it. So, all right, let me look at the time. Okay. So, all right, Vesta, I'm just doing a reading for you right now because I know you have been trying to get here for freaking weeks, and I'm not going to scroll down. So I'm just going to like mix the cards and do a reading for you right now because you're here. And by the time I get to the bottom of the list, it'll be time for me to go. And I want to make sure you get one. So there, ha, ha, ha. Okay. And thank God it's not a freaking mask card. Okay, so that's the card that came up for you. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm sorry. So the first thing I'm sitting here going, okay, so how does that fit for you? And the first thing that came into my mind once it kind of snapped into place was, why do people have to be such assholes? That's what it said. And I'm like, okay, thus me laughing. I think I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not even sure where to take this. Okay, I do know somewhere to take this. So I mean, you already knew that people were assholes, but I feel like lately it has just been more frustrating for you. You know, I don't know if people are being more assholey, which is entirely possible. Um, you know, so but for your own well-being, maybe, you know, just allow them to be that way and not allow it to interfere with your energy that much, you know, and maybe have a little image of, you know, they're doing whatever they're doing and you got a little bag of popcorn and you're just watching the show because you can't take it in as an observer. And when you do it in that way, it doesn't affect your energy because it's more like you're watching it on a screen and not participating in it, if that makes sense. Okay, so Ohor says, you are absolutely right. I am working on that subject through meditation and affirmation. Excellent, perfect. And then Christine says, yes, that was on point, and I'm going through emotional pain and I'm healing. So yes, I definitely agree with you. Thank you. And you guys, thank you so much for the feedback. You just don't know how much I appreciate that. And then Horace says, and mind over matter techniques. Perfect. All right. I already did you. So Vesta said, ooh, cards, please and thank you. Did you? Julianne said, ding, ding, yes. Man, even with all those mask cards. So that's kind of cool. And she says, absolutely agree. And then Mickey, okay, so Mickey, I'm going to do your reading, and this is my last reading. I'm going to kind of read through the notes, but this is the last reading for this 4th of July. You know, I schedule these things, and then, and then I like, oh, it's a holiday. And so hopefully not too many people left. There will not be a live stream next week. You know, I'll be back in 2 weeks, but I am going to the MUFON Symposium. Actually, I have a booth at the MUFON Symposium in Dallas. And it starts Friday early, which means I'm going to be driving on Thursday. And I was trying to figure out how to navigate. And I was like, you know what? Even though I can be a people pleaser, I'm learning to put limits on my time and energy. So I decided no live next week and was like, oh, thank God, because I was not sure how I was going to make that work without stressing myself out. And I said, you know what? No, you're not going to do it. Okay. So Mickey wants a reading. Okay, so no live next week, but I will be back. All right, Mickey, this is your card. So, Mickey, I get the impression that you have a very gentle heart, and I feel like it has been challenging for you to deal with other people's energy. And I get the impression that, you know, like the older you get or whatever, the more sensitive you're noticing that you are. I feel like you have been paying more attention to the synchronicities in your life and things that are going on. And and listening more to your inner guidance, which is opening you up your sensitivity. But now you have to deal with the bad part about being more empathic, which is dealing with the funky energy. And I'm really sorry about that. Um, but they don't call it a blessing and a curse um, for no reason at all. Um, but it is part of the process. Um, yeah. Anyway, comments below, even though yeah. All right. Okay. So Cindy says, definitely appreciate it. I have recently been putting people out of my life the best I can. Excellent. Michael says, yes, it did make sense. It actually gives me something to think about. Perfect. Alice Starr says, thank you. I would like to write a book about my life story. Well, that's cool. Rita says, you're always spot on. Thank you so much. So see, if I'm so excellent, you all need to schedule private consultations with me. And then she said, the house has great structure. You'll make it beautiful. And I'm loving this project. So, and then RLC says, I get what you're saying. My husband and I are in a new place, in a new state, and I do not know why we paid an inspector. Nothing is what it appears. True. Julie says, thank you very much. Veronica says, I was in a fast car. And she says, yay, a lot of toxic people. Vesta said, or Victoria, hey, Victoria. Hope everyone is having a happy 4th. Okay. Let's see. Carly, you're a new name. Welcome to the show, but I am already over. So I am going to go. I'm not seeing any more caps. Okay. And so Ishka, you came a little late. The show starts at 7 p.m. Central. You definitely have to get here early. But it is time for me. It is time for me to go. So as I said before, if you would like to schedule a private reading with me, please go to soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com. And there's tons of articles and videos and all kinds of stuff on the website, including all of my books, which we're showing on the tickler below. Please like and subscribe my channels on the different social media things, which are all posted below in the show notes. And I will see you all in 2 weeks back here. Until then, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.